Oh, hello guys. So this is the video that I promised y'all about the taillight mod and how I did it. So first to kind of give an idea of what we're doing, I'm going to have us take a look at the wiring diagram first. If you want to skip this and just go straight to seeing what I did right on the truck, feel free to skip this whole part. But for those of you still sticking around, this is a sort of main theory of operation and what we will be doing. So this here is the turn signal switch, which I have already colored in. And you might notice I have a couple colors here already. The green and yellow, these are the lines that go to the taillights, while this dark blue and light blue are what go to the front turn signals. And this white wire, if you follow it back here, is what's coming off of the stoplight switch. So if you can see here in the turn signal switch, you can see a lot of these switches are what is called normally closed. So when you step on the brake pedal, it'll send an electrical signal through the white wire, and it will then go directly into both the green and yellow wire, where if we follow that along over the actual taillights, would just cause them to turn on and turn on as just your normal brake lights. But what happens when you flip the turn signal then? What happens in that case is these normally open switches then close, or normally closed switches then open up to the other position, where you can see in this diagram it's labeled right and left. So let's say, for example, you flip the indicator to the right. These will shift this way, which you can see. The one for the front indicator, just basically flip that over from an empty position, and it'll just start taking the flashing signal from the purple, which, if I follow the diagram up here, is just basically straight off the flasher. So goes from the purple and just sends the signal straight through to the dark blue, goes right to the front. But what happens in the back, you can see it normally has a direct connection to the brake lights here from the white wire, but once you flip that open, that breaks that connection with the white, and instead turns the dark green wire into flasher, getting the signal from the flasher relay. So when you go back over to the turn signal over here, this one will now be flashing, while the yellow will still be a standard brake light, as if you go back over here, when you flip it right, it will only flip this switch. The yellow one will still have a direct connection to the white light, or the white wire, I mean. And you can, just for a quick note, it's not super relevant now. You can also follow these wires down and see the same thing happens with the hazard and using the hazard relay, but I didn't bother to highlight that as it's basically the same principle, except it just eliminates the white wire and just bypasses it all. So, the theory as to the way I did it is this white wire here going into the turn signal switch. This wire, you cut it. So that way, when you step on the brake light or step on the brake pedal, this connection will still exist, but there will not be any power flowing through here. This is just a dead line. So when you flip right and left, these switches will still connect normally to the flasher, so they'll flash, but we're in the position to receive the electrical signal from the brake pedal. Like I said, this wire is now cut, so it will never get that signal. So it will basically just stay dark even when you're on the brakes when you have this white wire cut. So what that means over on this side, let me zoom out again, is that this dark green and yellow wire, which A quick note, these colors may be different from different model years, but as per the Haynes manual, these are typical as per 1992 to 1994. Apparently, the older models, taking a look through the wiring diagrams, they look to be about the more or less the same. It's just they seem to use different colors for some reason. And anything 95 or newer, I have not had a chance to check the manuals yet for. But anyway, as I was saying, the green and yellow wires, these are now no longer carry the brake signal once you cut the white wire over here. So what that does in that case, now these are just a dedicated turn signal wire. So if I start to draw myself a nice little new diagram over here, now you will have your new 3 light bulbs. Let me just draw a nice little bulb here. Oh, that's a bit big, but that'll work. Another bulb here. And these will be our turn signal bulbs. Let me make another bulb here. This will be your combined brake and running light. And then, of course, one for the other side. And then you'll also just have your regular old reverse lamp. So first things first, the things that will not change are the wires on the backup lamp and the wires for the turn lamp. They are pins 9 and 24 here. I do not have the colors on them as, like I said, they're not going to be changing. So instead, these which go, as you can see, 24 goes to the backup lamp, and 9 is the tail lamp. Instead, just going here, we'll just send these to our diagram over here, and I'll just use the color red for the running light, which I'll just connect up to that pin. And I'll use gray to represent the backup lamp off pin 24. You can't see that. I'm going to use brown instead. Pin 24 and pin 24. And of course, they all have a common ground, which I'll just make one of those real quickly and just merge it into the existing line here. Alright, so what we have now is a combined brake and tail light, your reverse light, and the turn signal light. Now this is where it gets a little bit different and where you have to start kind of butchering the wiring harness a little bit. So the turn signal lights we already established. The green and yellow, we disconnected the brake light signal from those. So these can just go directly to the turn signal bulb and they will exactly just flash like a turn signal bulb should. And then over here, the third leg of our combined brake and tail light bulbs, these are going to then be your new brake light wire. But you might have noticed a problem already. On the factory harness, there's only 4 wires. The yellow, dark green, oh wait, that's the wrong one. Up here, this is it. So I'll just use the right hand, for example, the only difference will be instead of green, it'll be yellow down here. So on the factory harness, you'll only have 4 wires. You'll have green, you will have black, and then you'll have the 2 extra wires, which I unfortunately did not grab the colors for before I started this, which I used red and brown for. So I'll just use brown for the reverse light, which I did, and red for the turn signal, or not turn signal, running light. So you might notice that's only 4, but if you come down here, we now have 5 wires to worry about. You have the running light, the reverse light, the turn signal light, which I'll just use the green color for this one, and then the ground. And then once you add in the white wire, now you have 5. That is where the new harness, or the new connector comes into play, where you need to have the same connectors that come off the, I think it was the Oldsmobile Alero and Pontiac Grand Am had them. They are 100% compatible with the Arteb lights, and that will provide the 5 pins that you can use to connect up to the Arteb's circuit board. But as for this brake light, this is the trouble part now, because this you need to find a way to hook up to the brake light switch. There's quite a few ways to do it. The way that I guess would technically be most correct and the most universal, because as far as I'm aware, it should work regardless if it's a Suburban, Tahoe, Escalade, or the pickups, would be to have this wire. Let me just draw a little Suburban here real quickly. Fun drawing, I know. So what would technically be correct is right about here on the firewall of the hood is a relay. And that relay is what normally powers the brake lights. At least that's how it's set up in my 1994 model. And what you do with that relay is that is where you will connect the white wire to, running it from the taillights all the way in the back up to that relay, and that should give you a nice connection without needing to find a way to drill through the firewall, and it should also provide you with just a straight on-off brake light signal. Though the other way of doing it is the way that I'll show you out on my truck, which let's head out there now and I'll see if I'll be able to splice this in post. Alrighty, we're out here at the truck. We can see I have the running lights on and the turn signal on. I know I have that video that was shown earlier from the full demonstration, so I'm not going to do that now. Instead, this is purely how it's wired. So, the way I did it is if I get myself underneath of here, right up in here, so actually, yeah, right up in here is where the factory wiring harness kind of terminates its protective coating, and what there is this white wire on it. This is only on the pickups as far as I'm aware, but what this is for
is this is a wire directly off of the brake light switch. So this is a true on-off brake light signal straight off the brake light switch. And the purpose of this wire is for the center high mount lamp for if you were to install a bed camper or camper shell or whatever. This is where you would tie that into. So the way I have it set up here is the proper way to do it would be to use a proper 4-way tap. I didn't have one at the time, so this is my solution. Because you have the wire in, and then you will have an extra 2 wires out if you don't have a trailer hitch. Otherwise, you will need a 3rd wire for the trailer wiring harness. But otherwise, this is what you use for the brake light signal. Otherwise, the rest of it you would wire up as per the diagram as I have shown, which I'm not going to get into the colors, as like I said, I know they're different between different model years. And on top of that, once you get the pigtails themselves for the actual circuit boards, those wires are not going to match anything, as they're technically being taken from a separate application. But while I am underneath of here, an important note that needs to be made is that since you now have separate brake and turn signals, your truck will now also require a converter box for a 4-flat or even a 7-pin. Basically, any North American standard trailer plug, which is a combined turn and brake, you will need the adapter box. You can see here, this is the factory wiring for the factory installed trailer plug, which I just simply spliced in, pretty much as I said with the diagram. The green one here, you have the yellow one here, and this is, and these are the, now become the turn signal lights. The white one in this application, if I remember correctly, is the... Oh, that's backwards. But same applies. This is the wiring, this is to the converter box, but the white one is for the running lights, and then the black is the ground. The addition is this red one up here, which you can see goes to the splice off of the white cable. Otherwise, you see these 2 blue cables. These are what are going to the individual turn signal brake lights, so as to give them the brake light signal. And that is what will make these all work. And one additional note that I will make while I am out here is that I know somebody posted that one extra converter box, which technically would be a lazy way of doing it. But the problem with that is it does not allow any sort of pass-through for a hazard light signal. Because to that converter box, since these would still be combined up to that box, if you have both of them flashing at the same time, it has no idea if you have the hazard lights on, or if you're just repeatedly stepping on the brake on and off. So, to do it properly, you would need to have it wired in a fashion similar to what I have showed you, so as to have hazard lights on both sides function as normal, while also being able to step on the brakes and still have the brakes work. Which, let's see if I can't demo that real quickly, if I can set my phone down somewhere. I don't think I'll be able to. I do think you get what I'm saying, though. Otherwise, if anybody has any questions, please make a note in the thread or leave a comment down below, and I will try my best to help out. Otherwise, thank you very much and have a good one. Thank you.